Well, hello, my fellow Guardian. Thank you for clicking on my video. Thank you for checking it out. This is actually my second build video. My previous build video for Warlock was the Immortal Stasis build. I'm showing it to you on screen right now. I have it linked in the description. If you'd like to check that out, I highly recommend it. For a small YouTube channel like mine, that video is doing very well. Actually, my best video in a very long time. And I'm very excited to share another build with you. As I said on my first build video, the subclass that I touched on was Stasis. This is going to be Solar. I started playing Destiny 2 in the last season content, and Solar 3.0 was the big thing. Even though we've moved on to a new season here, Season 18, Solar 3.0 is still awesome. This build here, I think, is maybe something that you're probably not used to or maybe haven't seen before. I hope so. I hope it's something new for you. I'm saying that because the exotic gloves, I don't see a lot of people wearing them. This is a really fun build. You can take this into endgame content. I especially like to use it to farm or even go, the gameplay at the end of this video will be Legend Dares. I really enjoy farming dares. You get weapons that you can't really get anywhere else. Also some armor pieces. Plus, I think it's fun. But with the right aspects on the subclass, with the correct weapons and the correct mods on your gear, you can really take this build just about anywhere. Alright, this video will be just like my first build video. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the intro here. We're going to go into my build. I will show you the subclass, the weapons, and the gear and mod pieces. And then we will finish off with the gameplay. As I said, it's going to be the Legend Dares. A lot of fun. Hope you'll check it out. For now, let's get into the build. Alright, to start things off, I can't emphasize enough. Every subclass, every build that I do, 100 resilience. No excuse for it. You're thinking, this is a melee build. I want to go 100 strength. I tested this out, going 100 strength and really not having my 100 resilience. Having that 40% damage reduction with your 100 resilience is so huge. It is so key to your survival that I highly recommend it. You'll notice with this build, even though I'm at 61 strength, so I'm getting the 60 benefit, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you stay alive and that you keep fighting, having fun, making it through the content. That's what matters. So over time, I hope I get some good strength pieces to drop, but right now I am not target farming them. Alright, let's start off with my super ability, that is Well of Radiance. Thrust your sword into the ground, damaging and scorching nearby targets. The sword projects a continuous aura, granting restoration and radiant effects to nearby allies, protecting them from the effects of stasis. Alright, linked in the description below is the Destiny Data Compendium. This is going to be a Google spreadsheet. This thing is awesome. This is a great tool. It breaks down everything in the game for your subclasses, for your weapon mods, your weapon perks, armor mods, pretty much everything. You can find out exactly. It gives you the stats, the numbers, so you know exactly what everything does. This Well of Radiance here grants 25% increased damage. It heals for 100 HP per second, and immunity to stasis effects for 30 seconds within a 6.5 meter radius. It does remove the restoration effect. Well of Radiance has 800 HP and it can be destroyed as well, shattered with stasis. Your other super is going to be for damage, but I really like to take this. Bails me out a lot when I'm about to die, if I'm surrounded by a mob of enemies, or I'm in a really hard part, or maybe the boss is just taking me out. I've even had it sometimes where I'm the last Guardian alive on my team, and I'm about to go down, boom, pop this thing, bails me out. Also, on those last engaging boss fights, it's nice to throw this down. The whole team can get together, focus on putting out damage. You don't have to worry about staying alive. Alright, moving right along, let's get into my 4 abilities. We're going to start off with my class ability, and that is the Healing Rift. Just like my super, the Healing Rift bails me out time and time again. Movement ability. It really comes to the content that you're doing. Are you going into like a raid or something that has a lot of jumping puzzles? The Strafe Glide here that I take is huge. When I go and do PvP, I always take the Burst Glide with me. But for overall, just normal, everyday content, I always take the Strafe Glide. Next ability is my Solar Melee. This build is designed to be up in enemies' faces. You are going to be running at the threat. You're going to be engaging. You're going to be in close vicinity. The other melee is more for distance and kind of single to a concentrated group of enemies. Incinerator Snap, this one right here that I do use for this build, is a little different. It doesn't have the reach that the other melee has. First of all, I really like the animation, how you snap your fingers, but it spreads out that fan in a wide area. So if you are surrounded by a group of enemies, or you have a few spread out in front of you, this covers that area, and it's going to, just like it says, Snap your fingers to create a fan of burning sparks that explode and scorch targets. So this will spread out in a wide area, and the key to this is we want to apply scorch to targets. I like how they put the description here. The target is singed by destructive solar light, taking damage over time. Scorch damage increases as the target accumulates more scorch stacks. Now as we apply more and more scorch stacks to them, after enough scorch stacks are applied to the target, they ignite. Now when we do ignite your target, ignition, a large solar explosion which deals damage in an area around the target. This is great for groups of enemies. We want to continuously apply scorch to them. Also, this is going to heal us as well. You'll see in my build what I mean. All right, next we're going to go to my solar grenade, and it is actually called Solar Grenade. It's a grenade that creates a flare of solar light that continuously damages and scorches targets trapped inside. As I said, this build is to be running in a fight, so if I'm surrounded by enemies, boom, I can chuck this thing on the ground. It covers a wide area, and I can continue fighting and don't have to worry about dying like when I use my fusion grenade. There's also another reason why I use the solar grenade. There are a couple others that I would like, but my aspect, which I'll get into here in just a second, is going to cover the solar grenade to make it even better. All right, let's hop over to my two aspects. The first one is Icarus Dash. I actually have my keybind. It says here long press. I actually double tap B, but it gives you a nice dodge. This is really good to hit in tricky spots if you're in a jumping puzzle or if you need to get away from a threat. Plus, it looks really neat. I like how it quick switches to the third-person view. It's got that nice sound effect. But for getting around tricky situations and mobility, I really enjoy the Icarus Dash. All right, and the second aspect is Touch of Flame. This has to go back to my grenade, as I stated before. Your healing, solar, firebolt, and fusion grenades have an enhanced in functionality. Now in this case, we're using the solar grenade. So you can see there the solar grenade increases linger duration, periodically emits blobs of lava around its perimeter. As I said, I like to use this grenade because it covers a wide area and it's not going to damage us in the process. So according to the Destiny Google spreadsheet here, the solar grenades with this Touch of Flame, they linger for 2 seconds longer and they release magma orbs that deal 50 damage each. I like this because they kind of pop out. It looks like they're overflowing like lava, covers a wide area. Great for groups of enemies. All right, let's go ahead and move on down and we'll go over the 4 solar fragments. First one is going to be Ember of Empyrean. Solar weapon or ability final blows extend the duration of restoration and radiant effects applied to you. I'm not a big fan of the -10 resilience, but the benefits you get from this fragment, I think it is worth it. So you can see there on the left there, restoration, you regenerate health and shields over time, cannot be interrupted by taking damage. So according to the spreadsheet, it looks like if you have 1 effect of restoration, 1 stack, you're going to get 50 HP per second. And if you have 2 stacks, you're going to get 80 HP per second. Then you can see the second part is Radiant. Your weapons are enhanced by the power of the Traveler and deal increased damage to foes. So when you are Radiant, you are getting a 25% damage buff. That is huge. That is a big jump, 25%. So you can see here the 2 benefits, Restoration, Radiant. Not only are you getting the healing effects, but it also gives you a huge boost to putting out damage. Alright, the second fragment is Ember of Searing. Defeating scorched targets grants melee energy. I like the little bump there of plus 10 recovery. But this, in my opinion, is going to be your most important fragment. This is a melee build. Every enemy that we are attacking, we're pretty much applying Scorch to them. Every enemy that we eliminate, we are getting melee energy for. It's going to bring back our solar melee ability, that Incinerator Snap, which is a key part of our exotic gloves, which I'm going to get to here in just a second. But the point is, our melee, we want the cooldown, we want it back, we want it gone as soon as possible. Not only to put out damage, but to keep us alive, which again, I'll show you with the exotic gloves. Now over to the third solar fragment, Ember of Torches. Powered melee attacks against combatants make you and your nearby allies radiant. So what this means, just using our melee attack, it's going to apply radiant to me and my teammates as long as they are within 8 meters of me. All of us that do get this buff, it's going to last for 10 seconds. And again, that's a 25% damage increase to our weapons. And the fourth and last solar fragment is going to be Ember of Solace. Radiant and restoration effects applied to you have an increased duration. Restoration effect is going to last 50% longer, and then the radiant effects last 5 seconds longer. I really like this fragment. It's going to help us put out damage longer, and it's also going to keep us alive longer as well. Alright, that will do it for the Solar subclass. Let's go ahead and move on to my weapons. Alright, in my kinetic slot, the first weapon is actually one of the first exotics I ever got in the game. It is the Monte Carlo auto rifle. The big thing here is going to be that intrinsic trait. Dealing damage with this weapon reduces your melee cooldown and grants a chance to fully charge your melee ability with each kill. So according to the spreadsheet, every single bullet, every single hit on an enemy is going to recharge your melee energy by 2%. You're thinking 2%? Well, that's not very good. Well, look at the rounds per minute. That's 600. If we land all our shots at 2%, that's 1200%. That's a lot. And every time you do get a kill with this Markov chain, we do get a 25% chance to fully recharge our melee ability. Now, when you do get a kill with this gun, you are going to get increased damage for 4.5 seconds. It does stack up to 5 times. And if we do get a melee kill, it refreshes our weapon and grants all 5 stacks. It does give in the spreadsheet the PvP numbers, but I'm just going to give you the PvE. First stack is 13%, second is 26%. I like how it doubles there. Then it goes up to 39%, 52%, and 65%. So again, one thing I want to emphasize, getting a melee kill and then switching to your Monte Carlo and using it immediately, for 4.5 seconds, we have a 65% damage buff because a melee kill is going to give you that 5 stacks right away. 65% damage buff? That's awesome. All right, let's move on to my energy slot in. Oh, you're probably wondering why I'm laughing. The time, the grind, the RNG I had to go through to get this baby. This, by far, is my favorite gun in the game. Now, to get this gun, basically what I had to do, I had to farm opulent keys in the Leviathan. I had to get lucky with it dropping from a chest. I've seen on Reddit where people still to this day have not gotten this gun to drop. But I got lucky. I was able to craft it. I actually crafted this about 5 days before I made this video. And as you can see, I've been grinding pretty hard with it. I got it up to level 16. That is so I can do my God Roll version of this game. There are other perks that you may like, but for me, this is what I want. This is exactly what I need it for, and man, it was worth the grind. That's all I gotta say. As I said, I had to get it to level 16 to unlock these next 2 perks, which are the enhanced trait versions of them. We have Threat Detector, greatly increased reload, stability, and handling when targets are in close proximity. Now with Threat Detector, if you are within 15 meters of 2 or plus enemies, 15 meters gives you a lot of space. I like that. You're gonna get plus 40 stability, plus 55 reload, and 0.56 times handling animation duration multiplier. The only thing negative that I can say about the Callus Mini tool is that it can have a long reload animation. That is why I go with this enhanced threat detector. Really brings that down. Alright, but this next perk is what makes this weapon for me, especially on a solar build. Incandescent. Defeating a target spreads a longer lasting scorch to those nearby. More powerful combatants and opposing guardians cause scorch in a larger radius. So according to the spreadsheet, we are going to apply 30 Scorch to enemies. Now, since we have our Ember of Ashes fragment from our subclass, it's actually going to be plus 10, so we will apply 40 Scorch stacks. As it says there in the description, powerful combatants and guardians do increase the effect range to 8 meters. So once we do kill them, they're basically going to explode. They're going to apply Scorch to any enemies within 8 meters. But as I said, the Callus Mini tool, I had to grind the hell to get this. I love this gun. It's my favorite. And actually, since I just got it about 5 days ago, I use it on all my builds now. Whether it's going to be Stasis, it's going to be Arc, you get the point. At all my subclasses, I always take this. Now, the power weapon, you can really choose what you prefer to use. I just like this weapon. It's something new to use here in Season 18. It's pretty good. Especially in dares when you have Star Horse's favor and you pretty much have infinite power weapon ammo. This is a lot of fun to run around and use. We do have the incandescent perk on here, so not only with the mini tool, but we're also applying it here with a grenade launcher, causing enemies to explode, ignite, and spread scorch to areas and to mobs of enemies. And that second perk there, Vorpal, is going to increase damage to bosses. I do throw on a major mod as well, so not only am I getting buffs to bosses, I'm also getting buffs to champions. Alright, let's get into the last part of the build, and that is going to be the gear. We're going to start off with the exotic gauntlets. This is what makes the build. The Karnstein armlets. Now that armor perk. Melee kills instantly restore a large amount of health and continue to restore health afterwards for a short duration. So the numbers on that, according to the spreadsheet, it does heal 50 HP immediately on a melee kill, and it constantly regenerates 30 HP per second for 8 seconds, and this can be refreshed. Alright, and these two mods are very important in this build in my opinion. That is why I make this exotic gauntlet an arc, so I can get these two mods on here. That first one is heavy-handed. While charged with light, regain half of your melee energy when you use the charged melee ability, consuming 1 stack of charged with light. Now, as you can see there, it does have a secondary perk. While surrounded by multiple combatants, defeating a combat with a fusion rifle, shotgun, sidearm, or submachine gun adds ammo for that weapon to your reserves. And in this case, I'm always using the Callus Mini tool, my submachine gun. I get the benefit of that second perk. Now, this perk does take up 7 energy slot, but I mean, look at that. You regain half of your energy back when you used a charged melee, which would be our Incinerator Snap. This is a huge mod to have in this build. And the second one there is Momentum Transfer. Causing damage with a grenade reduces your melee cooldown. Now, upon dealing damage with your grenade, you do get a 20% melee energy immediately, and this does have a 7-second cooldown. So you can see these two going hand in hand, applying damage with your melee, your powered melee, the Incinerator Snap, and using your grenade. That's 70% melee energy instantly. 70%. That is huge. Next, we're going to move over to my helmet. We're going to use there in that 4 slot the Elemental Charge. This is extremely important in this build. Become charged with light by picking up an Elemental Well. If the Elemental Well's element type matches your subclass element, you gain 2 stacks of charge with light. This being a melee build, I do have my melee Well Maker, which I'll go over here in just a second. But basically, when we get kills with our melee ability, our Incinerator Snap, we're going to be creating solar wells. Picking up 1 well, we're going to get 2 stacks of charge with light immediately. That goes hand in hand with that heavy-handed armor mod I just showed to you. So basically what that means, in order to get our 50% melee energy back on a kill with a heavy-handed mod, we have to be charged with light. It consumes 1 stack upon activation. Since we'll be collecting solar wells all the time, we're going to pretty much have 2 stacks all the time, and we're going to get the benefit of those mods. Moving along, we're going to get to my chest armor. On that 4th slot, I have Bountiful Wells. Elemental Well mods that cause you to spawn Elemental Wells can now stack, spawning additional wells for each additional copy of the mod you have equipped. Now, Destiny 2 only allows you to spawn up to 4 wells at a time. Bountiful Wells here will give you an additional 1 well. All right, let's go down to my leg armor, my boots. I mentioned this before, we have the Melee Wellmaker, Powered Melee Combat Final Blow, spawn Elemental Wells, matching your subclass energy type. So when we do get that Final Blow, this will create 1 Elemental Well. In the middle there, I do have 2 copies. This does stack. This is Invigoration. Upon picking up an Orb of Power, we do gain Melee Ability Energy. 10% for 1 copy, we get an additional 5, so a total of 15% Melee Ability Energy back when we pick up 1 Orb of Power. Now let's go over the final gear piece, and that is going to be the Warlock Bond. I choose Arc for this for 2 reasons. The first one is going to be that Seeking Wells mod. Elemental wells you create will move across the ground toward nearby players. Now this is more of a quality of a life mod. I could have gone for a Solar Bond and done another Bountiful Wells copy, but the reason why I chose Arc was for the Seeking Wells and the other 2 mods there in the middle, which I'll go over in just a second. But Seeking Wells I really like. As long as you are within 20 meters of a well that you created, these wells, I love the animation. I love how this looks in game. They're going to kind of slither along the ground and come to you. It looks really cool, but also I can focus on fighting. I can focus on all the chaos, and having fun and slaying enemies, and I don't have to worry about, oh, where did those wells drop? I better run over there and grab them. As long as I'm within 20 meters, they're going to come to me. Now, they do bug out sometimes. If there's an object on the ground or something in its way, they'll get caught up on it sometimes. I'd say about 75% of the time or more, maybe, up to 80, 85%, those wells will come to you. And again, I chose an Arc Bond for those middle 2 mods there. These are called Outreach, and these do stack using class ability. So when we drop our Healing Rift, it grants melee ability energy. And compared to Hunters and Titans, Warlocks, we actually get the biggest buff from this. We get 20% for the 1 copy, and we get an additional 5%. So having those 2 copies, just throwing our Healing Rift down, we get 25% of our melee energy back. All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up. If you are still listening and watching this video, I just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day to click on this video and giving me your time and watching this. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. I really, really do. That being said, enjoy the gameplay, and I really hope to see you in my next video.
Will you win a 55-inch machine gun, a Golden Age Sparrow, an all-expenses-paid trip to Europa? Find out tonight on Dares of Eternity. Other team joining us tonight. Please save Velasque to the fallen. More foes pour into this realm at the behest of the ageless horse. The fantastic horse now demands you prove your dexterity on the zany Dares of Eternity obstacle course.
It is time once again.
Hailing from the Ascendant Realm, here come the Hive. The horse wishes to witness further combat. Treasurer of the Eternal Horse. Ah, big money, big bucks, big money. Your final opponent awaits behind one of these doors. Which shall you choose? resonate with the one perfect reality. The horse rewards you. The infinite steed places timeless Vex before you. See you on the other side. Now, conclude the fight. You have triumphed, champion. Now, let us see what treasure you will be taking home. Yes, the vault of the Paraverse is generous.